gals and ghouls and other spooky beings.
Yeah, hi. It's spooky season.
Don't be alarmed. It's still Link and Seraphina. We have not been possessed by evil pumpkin lords or tiny children gods from a video game.
Nope. But we
here
did
we
dress
are
up.
anyways. Yes.
We dressed up for you guys, so how are you?
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
I'm going to take this pumpkin head off and I'm going to throw it through the screen and
Or
it's going to come and bite you.
The consequences.
Oh my gosh. I really went all out with my Halloween decorating this year. I made it storm outside. It's so foggy in here now too. Like,
I didn't do anything. I'm just Nahida.
That's okay. Maybe we can get her to decorate for next week.
Maybe. Possibly.
But
potentially.
Anyways. It is now coming up on spooky season in just a couple of weeks. And we're both super excited. I fucking love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday.
Me too.
And so yeah, we figured we'd get things a little scary around here for the next couple of episodes before Halloween. And just you wait until Christmas time because
it'll be a whole thing too. I
also love Christmas.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to be doing some scary stories, some Halloween fun over the next couple of episodes. So I hope you guys are ready for that, and I'm super excited.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep everything a little bit interesting and spooky or in the scary realm. So with that, we are gonna do some of our normal get to know you questions, but these are gonna be more Halloween based. So, as a child, did you trick or treat during Halloween? And can you remember the costume that you went out with?
So many times.
Same.
I have dressed up every year for Halloween of my entire life, except for last year, and I was very depressed about it. Because we were very stressy, depressy last year for the entirety of the holiday season, from Halloween, Christmas, all of it. So we didn't do anything last year. So I unfortunately did not dress up myself last year, but every other year I did.
I love that. What do you normally go as?
Well, there's no normally. I usually, with the exception of a couple of years where I went as Draco Malfoy.
I love that.
And there was 2 years in a row that I went as Alec Lightwood from Shadowhunters.
Oh, love that. I love him.
I fucking love him too. He's my favorite. But other than that, I tend to change it up every year. I'm trying to think of the last time that I went trick-or-treating and what I was dressed up as. But I could recall so many costumes that I was as a kid. I went as a devil one year. I had very sparkly devil horns, and I painted my whole face red. It was a bitch to get off afterwards.
Oh, I'm sure.
I went as Gene Simmons one year from Kiss, and full Kiss makeup.
Oh my god!
Everything. That wig was so fucking hot. Also, it was driving me insane. But it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
I love
that. One of my favorite costumes I ever did was the Mad Hatter.
Oh yeah.
It was all homemade and everything. So I got a suit from a thrift store, and I made a giant obnoxious bow tie out of, I think it was a Halloween themed scarf. I went to Walmart and I bought a giant sewing kit, and I made the sash that he wears that has all the spools of thread on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then the other parts I didn't obviously we did full makeup. We're talking Johnny Depp Mad Hatter, not cartoon Mad Hatter.
Love that.
So I had all the makeup done. We got a curly red wig from the costume store, and we cut and styled it and stuff, and I actually had to pin it to my hat so that it would be like sticking up and shaped in the right manner, because it just would not cooperate. And then I bought the hat from the Halloween store, because I can't make a hat because I'm not actually a hatter. But yeah, that was fun.
I love that. I also went trick-or-treating as a kid. I think a lot of the time I ended up being like a witch. Like I was a witch for a really long time. Like I had like this little just black dress that had like cobweb see-through sleeves. They were really cool. And then I think I also went as Starfire one year from
Nice.
Teen Titans. Like,
Love Teen Titans.
Me too. Not like the OG comic or anything, or Teen Titans Go, because obviously I was done trick-or-treating by the time that came out. And also I love the OG version more. So yeah, I went as her, and then I went as, I think when I stopped trick-or-treating, I dressed up as a Cheshire Cat.
Nice.
And like did the teeth and everything along my whole mouth. But then in the pictures I decided to smile instead of just have the Cheshire Cat smile. So I looked kind of stupid. And then last year I dressed up as Kaneki.
Yes.
From Tokyo Ghoul.
I remember that because
my face was so red. I was so upset. But like the pants came out really great, and like the restraints were really good, and like everything else about it was great. I just wish like the wig I had actually cut and styled, and then I wish I had done better with like my makeup for it too.
That's okay. Yeah.
But yeah.
My mom used to do a witch all the time.
Yeah. I feel like witch is so standard for girls.
Well, she did that mostly until me and my brother got old enough that we could kind of fend our costumes for ourselves a little bit more, so she didn't have to worry so much about our costumes, that she could put more effort into her own.
I love that.
And the year that I did the Mad Hatter, my mom did the Queen of Hearts.
Oh, sweet.
So, and oh my god, we looked fucking sick as hell.
I love that.
And then the first year that I did Draco Malfoy, she did Bellatrix Lestrange.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I went as a cat a couple times too.
Nice.
Like whole cat ears, like cat collar, like tail and everything.
I did Avatar one year.
Nice.
Blue People Avatar, not Last Airbender Avatar. I always have to make the distinction now because nerds are persistent.
Yeah.
But you know, like the makeup for that took legit hours because
I'm sure
you have to paint the whole base blue, and then you have to go in with all the intricate details, and we use glow-in-the-dark paint for some of the details and stuff too, and then got the wig and everything, and it was, oh my god, it took forever, but it was intense. Fair. It was good. Between that year and my Mad Hatter year, I won a lot of costume contests.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. That's amazing.
Right?
Let's see. Do you or do you not like watching horror films, and why? If you like watching, what's your favorite?
No.
Yeah.
I am such a chicken shit. I cannot do scary movies. I have seen my fair share of scary movies, but I hated every minute of it. I've seen The Conjuring like 4 times. Because every year my friend would have like a Halloween party at his house, and a bunch of us would go over, and we always watched The Conjuring for some reason. I don't know why. So I was forced to sit through The Conjuring multiple times.
Definitely an interesting choice.
Yeah, and I've
to continually watch.
Right? I know. It's just a tradition at that point.
That is kind of fun though.
I've seen like the original Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I could, like, after watching Nightmare on Elm Street, I had such trouble sleeping because I legitimately thought if I fell asleep I was gonna die. So that was fun.
Your poor childhood.
I know.
Drama.
And actually my friends dragged me to go see The Visit in theaters when it came out. And it was supposed to be really scary. Like, there was a couple of jump scares in it, but actually, in general, it was really weird and actually kind of funny.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But honestly, Halloween movies it's all about Halloween Town, Twitches, Hocus Pocus.
I love Twitches.
Right? I fucking love Twitches. I need to get Disney Plus again so I can watch all of my regular favorites. I watch a lot of there's a few really good Disney Channel Halloween movies, like Girl vs. Monster is one of my favorites.
Oh, I love that one too.
I'll usually watch like the Halloween episodes of my favorite shows and stuff. Nightmare Before Christmas is always a good one.
Love it.
Right? It's so good. I'm trying to think of what else I usually watch. Nothing else is coming to mind at the moment.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so like here's the thing. I don't mind watching horror films if I can like watch it with someone else and like have a buffer of like a different movie after and stuff like that. It's more so like the stuff that gets like paranormal and supernatural kind of levels where I start to get like wary, because I get like a little bit superstitious, and then I like question the validity of like the movie saying this is based on true events, and I'm like, is it though? Is it actually? Because I have problems if it is. And like should we even be watching this if this is based on true events? Are we sure we should be doing this right now? Like, I get really
that's what
freaked out.
freaked me out the first time I watched The Conjuring, because it's a movie it's one of the ones that says that at the beginning of it.
Yeah, and then like I get scared to put my feet down by my like bed or my couch or chairs, because all of them have like a small gap, and somebody could just grab your feet. The creature that's there could just snatch your feet.
You know what's hilarious about that? I keep seeing TikToks of people scaring their like partners and shit by hiding under the bed and grabbing their feet like that. It's the funniest shit ever when it's happening to other people.
It is, yeah. But I would pass out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I get a little bit too superstitious. Like weird things have happened a few too many times to like not totally discredit the potential of like other things in my mind. And I'm such a firm believer that like if you open that door, it's open.
Yeah.
So I kind of like lean to the side of like, don't open the door, leave it, mind your business.
Don't go in the basement.
Don't go in the basement. Yeah. Which is why I was so freaked out the other night when I was playing Poppy Playtime and
Listen, you did so much better at that game than I did. I screamed way more than you did.
Yeah, but like I had watched you play it.
True.
I've watched people play it, and then you told me which way to go, and that was like the only hang up that I had.
It was terrifying.
It was like it got me really good the one time, but then after that I kind of like, it's not that I got desensitized to it, but it's like part of my brain was just like it turned it off, and then it was just like, oh, I know he's coming. Like I have a certain amount of time before he grabs me. I just know he does. Period. And so then it was kind of like not as jump scary, because then when I was playing Mortuary Assistant, I was like kind of adrenalined out, and so like there were still the jump scares and it got me, but it was more like gasps as opposed to like full screams. And also I've seen Grunge play that a shit ton, so
yeah, I've watched people play that a lot.
Yeah, but I'm glad I made it through my whole first night and was able to find out which body it was. So
nice.
Yeah, I do need to grab some clips from that and from the stream previously, so I need to be doing that. Yeah, those were my get to know you questions, and yeah, a little bit more about us today, you guys.
Nice. What are you dressing up as for Halloween this year?
I'm honestly not totally sure. I would have loved to have done like one of the characters from Genshin or something, but Halloween is less than like 3 weeks away, and I don't have a costume put together yet. I
Like,
could
coming down to the
technically.
part, it's you got to pick something simple at this point, and I do
I
too.
know. See, and I'm like almost thinking about trying to do Kaneki again, but like better. Plus, I've also been like still steadily like losing weight, so like I'm wondering if I could just go grab a costume from like Spirit or something,
Yeah.
and if that would work. But also, I'm not super pressed on dressing up. But I am also going to a Halloween party, so
Then you have to dress up.
I know.
See, like I just need a costume for work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't have any Halloween plans other than work.
Yeah. See, and if I do Kaneki, I can't wear that to work.
Right.
Because, like, I'd be barefoot. And that's not appropriate.
You could just put shoes on.
Yeah, but it ruins the aesthetic. It ruins the black toenails.
Fair.
Because that's a whole part of it.
Just get some like strappy sandals.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good idea.
I have some at work that are like $6, but that doesn't help you.
Send them to me.
I doubt they'd be there by the time Halloween comes around.
I don't know. We got like some time. How long does shipping take?
I honestly, it depends on if you pay extra for express shipping or not.
Yeah, but isn't normal shipping still like 7 to 10 days?
I don't fucking know.
I can't imagine it takes that long.
The only time I've ever sent anything to the States was for Secret Santa with my other friends, and I always pay for the express shipping. Because we're always collectively very late with our Secret Santa gifts, so...
Yeah, don't you guys do it in like July though too?
We just opened our Secret Santa gifts from last year in July of this year, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Are they meant to be done like during December?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Oh.
They are. Which is why we're taking this year off to get more organized for next year.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, you guys are basically going to have to be like planning in March what you're going to be sending.
And we're also doing a gathering trip this coming year, I think, too.
Oh, that would be exciting.
Yeah. They're all coming up to Canada land.
Ooh, love that.
Anyways, we're gonna get into fun stuff.
Yeah. Some spooky, scary skeletons.
Bro, I fucking love that song.
Me too.
Okay, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Sure. I found this one earlier while I was at work today, actually. This is a spooky story. It's called Footsteps in Bedroom. Wow, I'm already doing it wrong. I'm so sorry, everybody.
The mood is ruined. Microphone.
I know.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Right. All right. Last night, my boyfriend and I were asleep and woke up to an odd noise. Somewhere between a bang or a rustle. The noise was near our bedroom door. I heard my boyfriend whisper, "What the fuck?" Sorry.
Can't laugh in a scary story. What the fuck?
I was laughing at my whisper. I've ruined it. Anyways, which he confirmed to me that noise happened. So I asked him if he had heard that too, and he said yeah. I took out my earplugs, and as I did, my boyfriend heard quick footsteps go from the bedroom door and past the bottom of our bed. Luckily, I didn't hear the freaky footsteps as removing my earplugs muffled my hearing. Then, once I had just taken out my earplugs, we heard another bang, rustling noise right next to my boyfriend's side of the bed. Then I sat up and turned the flash on my phone to investigate, and all noises stopped. We could not find a logical source for these sounds. We've been in our flat for 5 months now, and nothing's happened up until this point. Freaked us both out, and we struggled to get back to sleep after. Honestly, I'd be like shitting my pants because I don't know why noise almost affects me so much more than like a jump scare does.
I mean,
Like
I
what?
freak out at a jump scare.
I mean, it's
Like,
not that I don't, but like even when I was playing Mortuary's Assistant, when the jump scare happened, yeah, I gasped. But then when there's like the thumping of the footsteps getting closer, but you don't see
start
anything,
panicking more.
you panic more. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if I was at home in my own space and I heard like rustling and banging like that, I'd be freaking out.
Yep.
Yeah. And probably crying, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry for laughing at that one. All right, you're up.
Okay. This one is called The Key. I was 7 years old when I first noticed the key. It hung in a tarnished brass frame above my grandparents' mantel, catching the afternoon light in a way that made it shimmer faintly with rainbow colors. The way it glowed, like it was alive, hooked my curiosity. I stood there for what felt like forever, staring up at it, wondering what it unlocked. One day, I couldn't hold back the question any longer. Grandma, Grandpa, what's the key for? Grandpa's face twisted into something mean, his lips curling back over yellow teeth as he spat on the wooden floor. Grandma, usually sweet and patient, shot me a glare so sharp it felt like it could cut through bone. Find something else to worry about, she snapped, her voice like ice. Don't ask about that thing again. I backed away, confused and scared. I had never seen them react like that to anything. It was just a key, or at least that's what I thought. Later, I tried asking my dad. He barely glanced up from his newspaper, muttering, "It's just some old family heirloom. It doesn't even unlock anything anymore." He forced a smile, but his eyes stayed cold. Don't waste your time thinking about it. But I did think about it. A lot. Years went by. The key became one of those weird childhood memories, half forgotten but always lingering in the background. Then, when I was 9, everything changed. My grandparents died in a car crash. Their house, filled with ancient furniture and dusty secrets, became my father's responsibility. That was the last time I stood in front of the mantel, staring at the key. I was taller now and noticed strange engravings curling around the shaft like vines or roots. I didn't realize how long I'd been standing there until the clock struck. A low, somber chime echoed through the room. It struck once before I started looking at the key. Now it struck 11 times. I'd been staring for nearly an hour. Your uncle called it a lotus flower, my father said when he found me rooted there, as if my feet had become part of the floor. A lotus flower, I repeated, confused. He nodded grimly. It's from Greek mythology. People who eat the lotus forget everything, trapped in a dream, thinking only moments have passed while years drift away. I didn't fully understand, but it sounded fitting. Do you think I could have it? I asked, not really expecting a yes. My father's expression darkened. Absolutely not. That key is more trouble than it's worth. He shoved his hands in his pockets, his voice low. When you're older, maybe, but not now. The weight of his words hung heavy between us, thicker than the dust in the air. I dropped the subject, though the questions lingered in my mind for years. By the time I turned 23, I hadn't thought about the key in a long while. I was too busy trying to live my life, until the day my uncle vanished. No note, no trace, just gone, like he'd been plucked out of existence. The police searched for months, but there were no leads. My father became quiet and withdrawn, taking long walks alone and staring out the window late into the night. Then, one evening, I saw it in his hands, the key. It had been missing from the house for years, but now it was back. He noticed me staring. "I think it's time I tell you everything," he said quietly, sitting me down at the kitchen table. He placed the key between us, its strange rainbow sheen dim under the light. "This key has been in our family for generations. No one knows where it came from, and it's passed down like a curse." My father's eyes were haunted, his voice a mixture of anger and regret. Some say it opens the door to riches. Others believe it's just a useless trinket, a relic of our ancestors' delusions. He paused, rubbing his temple like the memories physically hurt. And then there are those who say it's meant to keep something locked away, something that should never, ever be unleashed. A chill ran down my spine as I listened. My father wasn't the kind of man who believed in fairy tales, but the fear in his voice was real. "Your uncle thought it was the key to a new world. A world where everything was better, where anything was possible. He spent years researching it, obsessed, and then one day he disappeared. He looked me dead in the eyes. I don't believe it was a coincidence. I think the key took him. I tried to let the conversation go, to forget about the key, but it stuck in my mind like a splinter, refusing to leave. A few months after my father's death, I inherited the house, and along with it the key. It came with a letter from my uncle, postmarked years earlier. Dear nephew, I've spent my life unraveling the mystery of the key. Here's what I know. The key is tied to us. Only certain family members can sense its power, and you're one of them. If you've stared at it for hours without realizing it, then it's already calling to you. I felt a cold shiver reading those words. This key doesn't unlock treasure, it unlocks something far more dangerous, your soul. If you want answers, examine the engravings on the key. They'll tell you everything you need to know. And when the time comes, get an x-ray of your skull. The letter ended abruptly, no farewell, just a cryptic warning about the key and my own body. I didn't want to believe any of it, but curiosity got the better of me. I spent weeks tracing the engravings on the key, memorizing every curve and symbol. Then I went to the hospital and asked for an x-ray of my skull. When the doctor put the film up on the lightboard, his face twisted with confusion. There are markings, he said slowly, pointing at my forehead. They're not natural. I stared, numb with disbelief. The symbols on my skull matched the ones on the key exactly. That was when everything fell into place. The key wasn't meant to unlock a door or a treasure chest. It was meant to unlock me, or something inside me, something buried deep in my bones. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was all in my head, but as the winter solstice approached, the key began to glow brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. And then, on the longest night of the year, it happened. A thin spike shot out from the tip of the key, long enough to pierce flesh. I knew in that moment what the key demanded. It wasn't just an object, it was a curse. A tool to open the gate between life and whatever lay beyond. I held it in my hand, trembling as I realized the truth. The key had to be used. If I didn't, someone else would, and I wasn't sure I'd survive what was waiting on the other side. The only question left was this. Would I unlock the secret, or would it unlock me first?
I saved that one earlier too. That's a crazy one.
It's creepy.
It is.
Why are there markings inside your skull?
I know. It's really well written.
Right? It's a little longer than I thought it was.
Okay, I have a pretty long one too.
Okay.
If you're ready.
I'm ready.
This person is allegedly 15. And I don't know how well written this is, but this is another of the spooky story subreddit. I'm 15 and want to know if this is a skinwalker. Hello, my name is Oliver. I'm sorry if this writing is poor because I'm not a great writer. Anyways, I have something really spooky to get off my chest. I'm 14, by the way, so if there was a grown man coming at me, I probably wouldn't be able to hold my ground. Anyways, this all started about 2 years ago. I live in the middle of nowhere. I live about 10 minutes away from the nearest road. It has its pros and cons, but that doesn't matter right now. Me and my family always used to go into the woods to explore and go for walks with our 2 German shepherds. Not anymore though. Something changed. And it started with this one time where me and my family went deep in our woods and found human clothes. It creeped me out, but my dad wasn't scared. He's 6'2", burly, and who carries a loaded revolver with him. We find the clothes and look at it for a few seconds and carry on our walk like nothing happened. After a little while, we started to walk back, and my younger sister wanted to see the clothes again for some reason, so we headed back the same route we came from. When we got to the spot where the clothes were, we were shocked at what we were seeing. The clothes were not there anymore. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it freaked us out a little bit because the clothes had been there for only 15 minutes before we turned back. 4 months later. I had honestly completely forgotten about the clothes, and I think everyone else had too. But this experience is something I will never be able to forget. My family had pretty much stopped going in the woods. Not because they were scared, but because we thought we discovered everything. We weren't even close. I was bored at my house, so I told my dad I was going up to the woods, and he wished me fun and told me to be careful. I said bye and started my way into the woods. I want to say I was about a mile deep into the woods. I know that doesn't sound deep, but we went into the woods so much that I had the whole area memorized. When I came to a clearance that I've never seen before and decided I should take a quick water break. The second I sat down, I had an extreme feeling that there was something behind me and I froze. I stood up and pulled out my pocket knife and turned around this my knife ready to use. When I turned around, there was nothing there except for the worst smell ever. It smelled like a homeless man covered in every gross thing ever. I still had that feeling and started to walk back, but as I was walking, the feeling of being watched progressively got stronger. I started to run because whatever was behind me, I was not trying to find out what it would do to me. I got home and told my dad about my story, and he said it might have been a deer with babies or something like that. Whatever it was freaked the hell out of me. 3 months later, I haven't forgotten about the instance in the woods with the mysterious figure, but I had gotten over it enough to not have it be on my mind 24/7. As always, we cared about our lives. Now, here's where things start to get really weird. My dad was stacking firewood because during the winters we use an old-fashioned furnace. When he was stacking the wood, he randomly looked at the woods and just stared. I was watching him from the trampoline about 50 feet away. I yelled out to him to see if he was okay, but I also asked him if there was something out in the woods. He didn't respond. He just stared. It freaked me out enough to open the trampoline zipper and start to get out of the trampoline. But that's when my dad looked at me and started to walk fast-paced towards me. I asked him what he saw, and he simply said, "Nothing, don't worry about it." I still to this day don't know what he saw, but whatever it was spooked him. Now I wish that was the last experience I had with the being, but unfortunately, it wasn't. This is about 1 week after the incident with my dad getting spooked at something in the woods. Me and my dad both mutually agreed to not tell my mom and sisters because we didn't want to spook them. But I couldn't get it off my mind. It just didn't feel right to me. I shrug off the thought as best as I can, but what was coming for me, I will never be able to shrug off. A little while later, I was in my bed with the lights off watching TikTok on my phone when I heard what sounded to me like a human foot step right beside my bed. I froze. I wouldn't have been able to move even if I'd wanted to. Then once again, another footstep. I started to panic and I was horrified because I was still on edge from the other strange occurrences, and that's when I decided the best way to get this thing away from me was to yell, and yell loudly. I screamed so loud it woke my parents up. They came rushing to my room and burst in and asked me what was going on. I told them that there is something in my room, and they said to me without any concern whatsoever, "You're fine, go to sleep." I was terrified and annoyed that they didn't care, and I had to deal with it because arguing with my dad was like arguing with a deaf person. But something didn't look right with them. As he started to turn around and head for the door, I saw a vertical cut on my dad's neck, and it looked like it went down to his lower back. I almost asked my dad what happened because there was no way a cut like that could go unnoticed. But I didn't because my gut told me to act normal. So I did. I went to sleep and acted like nothing happened until I heard a whining sound coming from outside my bedroom door. It sounded like my dog. My dog was scratching at my door. It really freaked me out, so I stood up, grabbed my knife, and went to open my door. When I was just about to open it, the whining and scratching stopped. I opened the door and looked down and saw nothing. My dog had walked away. I was relieved but also frightened. I look at my watch and the time says it's 2:43 a.m. I start walking down my hallway to get some water. I open the kitchen door and see my dog standing on 2 legs, making horrible sounds. It sounded in pain, like there was something inside him. I go up to him and see there's a vertical cut from his neck down to his lower back, just like my dad's. I freak out and run out of the house and start running toward the street, but I live far, almost a 10-minute drive. When I get outside, there's a feeling of me getting watched again. I run down my long curvy driveway, hoping to get to a road and try signaling for a car to pull over for help. I sprinted all the way to the street. Normally, it would take me 20 to 30 minutes to walk down my driveway. This time, I got to the road in less than 15 minutes. I was so scared I forgot to be tired. I got to the road and saw a car driving down the road, which is oddly good timing considering it was 2:54 a.m. I waved the car down and luckily they pulled over. I say I need to get to the police department immediately. The stranger barely talked and drove me to the local station and came inside with me. I tell the police everything I know and take a seat in the waiting area. I feel guilty for not taking my sisters, but I think they also would have had the same cut. Currently, I'm sitting in the police station right now writing this. If this has ever happened to you or have any tips, let me know. Remember, I'm only 15 and I can't even drive to where I need to go. I'm scared and the police tell me they have multiple cases of this happening. I've looked online and multiple sources say this is similar to a skinwalker. Let me know what you think. Stay safe. I'll be honest, I got chills a little bit reading that. Are you muted, Link?
I was muted. Oh my god. Sorry, I was coughing in the middle of your story. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Yeah, some of these are pretty good. That one was kind of creepy.
Yeah, when the dog was standing on 2 feet.
Right?
I was like, oh shit. Like, and like, I don't know why, but like, I always hear the stories too of people saying stuff like, don't whistle at night. Don't yell into the like darkness. And I think I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast, but I'm pretty sure I have on stream where like there's no like road lights by like out the backside of my apartment, and that's like a lot of the time where I walk ghost, and so it's pitch black out. And then there's an open field right down like off of my patio basically, where it's just like tall grass and stuff. And so like one night I was walking ghost and there was this really odd noise. Like it sounded almost like a turkey or like some kind of bird that was hurt. And I know that like there's coyotes in the area and they can like mimic noise, but then they also say that skinwalkers can like mimic noise like that you're familiar with to like kind of lure you in. And like Ghost was alert. Like Ghost doesn't really pay attention to anything when he's like walking. He's just doing his business. Like he'll notice a dog here and there, but like if there's no one like actively around, he's happy walking, doesn't pay attention to anything, doesn't really stop unless he's like sniffing a spot, like, but he just stood there and stared into the field, and it gave me like the biggest chill. And I was like, no, we're going back up the hill. We're not gonna walk in the dark area. Like, I don't know what that noise is, but like I'm genuinely freaked out. And like it's only happened maybe 2 or 3 times where I get like a feeling of like almost like a doom kind of feeling. Like I had it happen another night where I was like going into my apartment and I didn't see anyone, but it was like dead silent, and I was like, I feel like I need to get inside now. Like I don't know why, but like that feeling and thought of like someone just coming out of the dark and like running up to me is so strong right now. I just need to get inside. And yeah, so it's a little creepy sometimes. So I don't walk down that way anymore.
Good, you probably shouldn't.
I probably shouldn't. But yeah, so like now I walk along the sidewalks on the the interior of the buildings only. But that one night with the weird noises, it just, Ghost being alert to it too, it just was like, it was too weird.
Yeah.
And then like those stories with like whistling into the woods, and they're like, don't ever do that.
I cannot imagine a scenario where I would be like voluntarily anywhere near woods in the dark.
I mean, camping.
Oh,
but even then, it's
now,
like campsites.
I love camping, but now, right, where like I always go in like an actual like a campground that has campsites and
right
stuff, and we're usually trashed by the time we go to bed, and it's like
yeah, and you don't have to worry about it.
Right. I'm gonna die in the middle of the woods from a ghost. I'm gonna do it while I'm completely wasted.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, it's. I really hope that by the time I go camping again, I'm not thinking about this conversation.
I hope so too. I'm so sorry.
Granted, I won't be camping again until the summer at the earliest, so.
Oh, okay, yeah. You've got like a whole 9 months to forget about it.
I know, but sometimes the conversations just pop back up at the worst times, you know?
They do. I'll make sure not to remind you of this.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, and like, if you're going with a group too, like, it's different than being alone and like whistling into the woods. Like,
Yeah.
the stories are always like very like people intentionally doing things they know that they shouldn't be, more so than anything, you know? But yeah.
Okay. This one, I haven't read it all the way through, but it looks kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a homemade Ouija board ruined the twins' lives. I hate Ouija boards to begin with.
Me too. I absolutely refuse to touch them.
Right? Okay. At the old inn at Wingate's Grove in... okay, sorry, hold on. We're going to start this over because what the hell is that town? Is it West Thoughton? Hold on, I'm going to send this to you.
Okay.
And you tell me how to pronounce it.
West Taunton?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, West Taunton, I think.
Hold on, I'm gonna see what
Google says.
the internet. Yeah. West Houghton. Okay. Okay. All right, we're gonna start over. At the old inn at Wingate's Grove in West Taunton sat twin girls, Melody and Grace, with wild ginger hair and pajamas made from satin, their parents in the room downstairs already asleep. The house was made of limestone and bricks. Windows were thick and covered by beige curtains to keep out the light. Their room was silent as the girls pondered over their new toy. It was handmade by Grace as they couldn't afford to buy their own yet, but that didn't stop their belief. The most powerful thing these girls had was imagination. As long as they hoped, they thought they would always get what they were after. They turned off the main light and lit up the candles that their mother bought for emergencies only. If the power went out now, the girls would have some explaining to do. As each candle lit, their excitement grew. Melody and Grace were ready to play. They sat in front of each other with the board in the middle, a small shot glass of their father's placed on top. "How do we start?" Melody whispered, reaching out towards the glass, following Grace's lead. "Just repeat after me. Ouija, we are here. Ouija, we can talk. Ouija, join us now." Grace muttered the phrase 3 times while sliding the glass with Melody still touching. Reluctantly, Melody joined in with the chant. She already felt like the air was cold, but a shiver went down her spine as they finished their chant. The windows were closed, they were on the top floor, and their mother wouldn't let them leave it open. Still, the curtain behind Grace twitched, or so Melody thought she saw. Could be her imagination. She thought, so back to the board went her glance. "Ask a question," Grace's voice made Melody jump. "What do we ask?" "Ask if they're here." "Why can't you ask?" "Fine. Ouija, are you here?" Grace looked down at the shot glass, awaiting its move. Stillness. Not even Melody trying to trick her. They were taking this seriously. Melody was too scared to joke, and Grace was too determined to talk to something, anything. From the corner of her eye, Melody saw a candle flicker. Saw a candle flicker and the curtain twitch. There has to be a draft, Melody thought, but there couldn't be. Every window and door was locked shut. The candles flickered brighter and brighter. They grew. Little. Little. What does that mean? Grace mumbled, reading the letters out that the board began spelling. MAN. Little man? Melody gasped. Then the breath she let out in fear blew out the candle next to her. The twins looked around for any other signs. Nothing stood out to them as being different than 2 minutes ago. There's this weird, like, I don't know. The next, like, sentence is, like, in this weird box that has, like, a scroll bar to go all the way across, and I don't know why.
Weird.
Anyways, the wallpaper that usually appeared to be covered in flowers began to look darker. The girls couldn't tell if their eyes were playing tricks on them. Blink, just blink and all will be back to normal. Both girls started to blink as fast as they could, as if twin telepathy was real for a moment. Their heads swiveled to look back at the wall, but the flowers were gone entirely. The wall was shiny and black. Oil, dripping oil, that covered the walls completely. BLOOD. The board spelled out. That's when the girls screamed and removed their fingers from the shot glass. The little man told them it wasn't oil. The walls were dripping with blood. The room was too dark and the red looked brown, almost black. The shine was reflected from the remaining candles. DROWNED. The glass was moving on its own, stood perfectly upright and sliding across the board. Upside down is what it spelled out. I didn't want to read it all out letter by letter again. It was speeding up, and the girls stood up and backed away towards the door. It slammed behind them. Letting out another scream, Grace and Melody huddled together by the door. A bang came from behind them, causing them to turn around, still embraced in each other's arms. "Open this door now," their father shouted through the wood he was banging. He was trying to get in. "We can't, Dad. Please help us," Melody shouted back. Their father's thuds against the door became more frantic. A bright light overtook the room. The overhead light had turned itself on. The glow became orange, then yellow, then white. Crash. The bulb had smashed and glass flew all around the room. Louder and louder the girls screamed. There was blood on their faces, but they hadn't touched the wall. The glass had cut them. Melody had a gash across her cheek. Grace had a slit through her eyebrow. The girls didn't even flinch at the pain. They moved away from the door as their father's tries to get in were getting faster. They covered their faces with their sleeves as a stench blew through the air. Rotting eggs could be smelled all through the house, the kind of smell that would make even the garbage men feel sick. It was almost as bad as burning hair and rotting flesh. It was foul. Not even the fabric of their pajamas could block it out. Their eyes watered to the point of crying. Their door flew open with their father running and grabbing the girls. "Brenda, outside now," he shouted back at his wife, urging her to run down the stairs and out of the front door. She had her key in hand and wrestled with the lock to get the family out safely. Wind blew the door wide open as she got the lock open. She ran out, turning to grab one of the girls off her husband. She set off to the closest neighbor's house to find someone to help. Tripping slightly as she ran across the garden, she finally looked down at her feet. There were hundreds of dead crows littering the garden and the street around them. The parents covered Melody and Grace's eyes from the sight, but it was too late. They'd seen everything. The family kept moving toward the neighbors, but Melody and Grace had the eyes trained on what had been their bedroom window. The curtains were open, and 3 shadows could be seen. A little man with a flat cap on, accompanied by the silhouettes of 2 girls with wild hair. Arms reached up in the window, offering a slow wave towards the girls. That's pretty creepy.
That is. That gave me chills. Dang.
That's why we don't fuck with Ouija boards.
Exactly. You don't fuck around with Ouija boards.
Also, you're never supposed to take your hands off the thing before you, like,
say
finish
goodbye.
the thing. Right.
Yeah.
Even I know that, and I don't fuck with this shit.
I mean, why though?
Why what?
Oh, because it's just gonna keep talking to you?
No, because that leaves, like, the, like, connection open or whatever, and then they can come in and fuck shit up. They can, like, possess you, or they can just, like, start haunting the place, or you could die, or all of the above.
Oh, so as long as you stay connected to the Ouija board and, like, close the connection,
then they can't come after you
beforehand.
afterwards.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, they seemed like they wanted to kind of be friends, except they were kind of hurting them. They waved to him.
Yeah, but if you pay attention to the description of the two girls with wild hair as the silhouettes, the first sentence of the thing, Melody and Grace with wild hair.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Right?
Yeah. Oof.
Because originally it was just the little man that they were talking to. But then there was the silhouettes of the 2 girls with wild hair afterwards.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Kind of
Interesting.
freaky,
Yeah, a little bit.
right?
Okay. Ready for mine?
Yes.
All right, this is from Olivia ATK. I know that I haven't been saying who any of the other people who read these stories or made these stories were, but I'm finally doing it. So here we go. This one is titled, I'm Never the First Through a Door. Call it dumb superstition or paranoia, but when I was a little girl, my grandpa used to say, evil must always be invited. He loved to tell tales about the mountains where he grew up, about the things that go bump in the night, and how they can't come inside your home without explicit permission. His favorite one was about how a crafty one almost tricked him by looking like a lawman. But anyway, when he told me his stories, it just kind of ingrained in my little child brain that I would never fall for a trick. And since then, I never once was the first person in a group to go through a doorway for fear of an involuntary inviting hand motion, much to the dismay of my parents, and obviously things like, come on in or be my guest, were erased from my vocabulary. Throughout high school, I was routinely picked at by my friends for this behavior, but I couldn't care less what they think. I only needed my subconscious habit to be a useful one. It's just unfortunate that when that one time came, it slipped my mind. For the last month, I've been staying at my grandparents' house in the mountains. God rest their souls, as it was given to my dad after my grandmother passed away, and he wanted me to get used to living alone. Or so he says. To be honest, I don't think my parents' marriage is going that well, and I doubt having an unemployed 22-year-old refusing to leave the nest is helping. I spent the first week or so just laying around on old furniture, kind of enjoying the silence, but mostly filling it with whatever YouTube drivel I could, Wendigoon and Nexpo mostly. But eventually, laying around lost its luster. Truthfully, I was running out of food. I didn't have to follow more than 3 steps to cook. So I decided to hop on my four-wheeler and ride down to the nearby town to spend my allotted food allowance on mac and cheese and oven pizzas. That's a mood. I make it in and out of the grocery store without talking to anybody. Thank God for self-checkout. But on my way back to my four-wheeler, someone called out to me and made me freeze in place. Nice jacket. I turn around to spit out one of my pre-recorded polite responses, but when I saw her, my brain stalled. She was a beautiful woman my age. Her pink dyed hair hung only a little past her chin. Her lips were painted a shiny black, the only noticeable makeup on her face, and she was a lot taller than me. Must have been 6'4", wearing a pumpkin orange sweater and black jeans. I caught myself staring and blurted out the first thing that came to mind. Oh, thank you. It was my grandpa's. This was true. It was my grandfather's favorite jacket. A denim vest with a light gray arm and a hood. We ended up talking for a few minutes, or more accurately, she talked at me while I stared at her. About how she hadn't seen me around before and how excited she was for Halloween, but she cut it off by pointing at my now dripping plastic bag. Oh, whoops. Looks like your stuff is thawing. You better get that home. It's been really nice talking to you. Do you have a number? I told her I did and gave it to her. When she entered it as a contact, she stopped and looked back up at me. Sorry, I forgot to even ask your name. She sounded disappointed in herself. It's Reagan, I responded with embarrassing enthusiasm. Knox. She shot back and smiled. She finished setting up the contact and called me so I would have her number 2. I'd rather not put it to word just how embarrassing it was to have megalovania rise from my pocket. Anyway, it was 2 days before I actually got a call from Knox. I was in the middle of making myself some breakfast when my phone started ringing. Hello, I said as I stepped away from the near boiling water. Hey Reagan, are you busy? I took a glance at the pot on the stove. Nope, I responded. Great. I'm jonesing for some company. Do you know where Storn Park is? I was a stomach-turning blend of nervous and excited about the prospect of friendship, but chose to lean on the excitement. I do! I turned the stove off and dumped the water out as she responded, Yippee, I'll see you there. After she hung up, it was seconds before my ass hit the seat of my four-wheeler. When I made it there, she was laying on the bench under a gazebo in the center of the park. She began yapping on about how pretty the leaves were last week before they fell while we walked around the park, but broke the topic by asking, "So, what's got you in town anyway?" I sat down on the small brick wall to keep people off the garden. "I'm not really in town. I'm up in the mountains at my grandpa's old house, just watching it for my dad." Her face lit up. "Is it that big one? The one with the red roof? I used to live next door. I've always wanted to see inside." It was, in fact, the biggest house on the mountain, just as the one she described. "Oh, would you like a tour? I can take you up there if you want." She gripped her sleeves. "Yes, please," she responded with enthusiasm. We hopped on my four-wheeler and started up the dirt road. She gripped my stomach tight. I assumed she was scared. I considered swerving a lot to see if she would grip tighter, but ultimately decided against it. When we got there, she stared up at the roof as I led her to the front door. I was so excited to show her around that I completely forgot about my door rule for the first time ever. I caught myself halfway through the door frame. I turned around on impulse, and she was standing frozen halfway up the porch step. She looked like all color had drained from her. Well, everything. "Something wrong?" Her voice was flat and monotone, unlike her bubbly demeanor from before. My breathing became hard, and I nearly swallowed my tongue. "Why aren't you moving?" I asked through dry lips. She tilted her head and her eyes widened. She looked uncanny. I took a step back, the rest of the way inside. She looked furious for a moment, but then looked confused. "Can I come in?" She sounded just as flat as before. It was then that I noticed just how hard she was gripping the porch's wood bars. Her nails made dents in the wood, and they bled from the quick. I thought back to my grandpa's stories and tried not to panic. I took a deep breath and said calmly, "You are not welcome." She huffed and stood up straight, unnaturally tall. She calmly turned around and walked casually into the woods. It's been about a week since then. I haven't left the house. I called my dad to come pick me up, but he's out of town on business until the day after tomorrow, so now I'm still stranded. As terrified as I am, I find myself feeling at least a little vindicated. I'm never going to forget that again. I will never be the first through a door.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. For real. Man, people are so good at writing these stories. Like, I think
Right?
every single one of them, except the first one that I was laughing at, have given me, like, legitimate chills.
Some of them are really creepy. I'm interested
Yeah.
to see which ones we find for next week.
Me too. The one with the skinwalkers really got me, just because, like,
Yeah.
that one feels too real.
Right?
And then, like, inviting evil, like, oof, that feels real too.
Yeah.
Like, I know that these are stories, but, like, that
right,
feels
but also,
like a...
Are they?
Right. Are they though? We're gonna have to look up Storn Park. Wait, okay, I'm actually gonna look it up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Storn Park. I spelled Storb. No, the closest thing that came to it was Stern Park.
Could be a typo.
Maybe. But this one also isn't near... This isn't, like, suburbs.
Interesting. Yeah. If any of you guys have scary stories, feel free to send them to us.
Yeah.
And we'll read them next week.
I'm not very good at reading, but yeah.
There was one that I used to tell all the time, and like I remember the gist of it, but I don't remember exactly how it goes, and I feel like I couldn't tell it with any justice at this point.
Fair.
It's called High Beams. It was, yeah. I may have to try to remember how it goes, or see if it's written somewhere on the internet that I can find it for next week.
If you remember the name, it might be written somewhere.
Well, that I don't remember if that's like the real name or if that was just the name that was given to it by the person that first told it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, we'll have more for you guys next week too.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know what you're dressing up as for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you think we should dress up as for Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Let us know how you are.
Right.
This is a threat.
For legal reasons, this is a threat. Anyways, we will catch you guys next week. And don't worry, I will force Serafina to decorate her room for Halloween.
Yeah.
We'll get a little spookified.
We'll get a little spooky.
Yeah. Anyways, bye guys.
Bye guys. See you next week.